Awake Israel.
Hey, shalom, everybody.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom. Like and subscribe. Hey, is that what I'm supposed to say
This guy.
Is that what I'm supposed to say to you today, man?
It's up to you, bro. It's up to you.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Bible study. We always enjoy these things and going through this word and just learning some more. What we've been doing is going through the book of Acts. Last time we did chapter 20. Tonight we're going to go do 21. We'll even get to 22 if we can. But last time, we talked about a lot of different things, and toward the end, we saw that Paul was getting ready to go back to Jerusalem, despite a lot of warnings about, getting locked up and harassed when he got there. But he was, he pretty much was like, "Look, I've done everything I can. No blood is on my hands because I warned you guys. I let you guys know what was going on with the word. I did everything with blood, sweat, and tears, basically, so, I'm ready to do whatever. My life belongs to Yah." So at this point, he's on his way back to Jerusalem, and he's been warned about some things that might take place there. So we're going to go ahead and kick it off in Acts 21. So we're going to need some readers.
I'll grab it.
We'll skip the first couple, but we'll go. What's this thing doing?
I'll grab it.
All right. Okay.
We're starting at 1, King?
We're going to start at 3. We're going to do 3 and 4. Oops.
Yeah.
Is this large enough? So you say?
Yeah.
All right. So again, he's the first portion of this chapter is pretty much him traveling. Him and some other disciples are traveling back to Jerusalem. So it just speaks about some of the lands they're going off of, them catching connecting ships and stuff like that to get back to the land. So we'll go ahead and pick up at 21 and 3. All right.
John, this is the book of Acts, chapter 21, verse 3. Now, when we have discovered Cyprus, we left it on the left hand and sailed into Syria and landed at Tyre, for there the ship was to unlade her burden.
That's like unload her whatever she has on the ship, whatever is on the ship, basically.
Mm-hmm. And finding disciples, we tarried there 7 days, who said to Paul through the Spirit that he should not go up to Jerusalem.
Okay, so we see right there again that Paul is being warned, and he's even being warned through the Spirit. He's even being warned through the Spirit. What will he do? Even with such a strong warning, what do we think he's going to do? Let's see. We're going to skip down to verse 7.
Verse 7.
Yeah, hold on for a second. This mouse is going crazy. All right, here we go.
And verse 7. And when we had finished our course from Tyre, we came to
Ptolemais,
and saluted the brethren and abode with them 1 day.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day, we that were of Paul's company departed and came unto Caesarea. And we entered into the house of Philip the evangelist, which was one of the 7, and abode with him.
All right, so Philip is an evangelist, and I know we hear that word floating around Christianity a lot these days, just to see what it is, evangelists. Let me see how you pronounce it.
Strong's G 2099. Euangelistes.
All right, and it just says a bringer of good tidings, or the gospel, an evangelist, a name given to the New Testament heralds of salvation through Christ who are not apostles. So again, basically, we just have someone that's preaching the gospel. That's what this is. All right, 9.
And the same man had 4 daughters, virgins, which did prophesy.
All right, so does Yah have ever put the spirit of prophecy on females, or is it just males?
Well, from what we see right now, looks like women too.
That's all it takes. You know what I'm saying? That's all we got to do is read the book. You know what I'm saying? It literally says that he is an evangelist, and He had four daughters virgins which did prophesy. So absolutely, and we know that there were other prophets in other parts of the in the Bible, Old Testament days as well. So excuse me, absolutely.
And
you prophets as well. Go ahead, sir.
And I was gonna say in Corinthians, it talks about the women praying or prophesying to cover their head. So
absolutely.
Yeah, and also in Joel, where he talks about putting the spirit upon all flesh, and your son and daughters to dream dreams, and prophesy, stuff like that. So yeah, it lines up, King.
So just putting that. It's not a huge major point. Hopefully most people know, but sometimes we don't. We're all learning. So just want to put it out there that yes, absolutely, females have a huge part to play in this walk and in this movement for Yah. He loves the women, the girls and the women, just as much as he loves the men and the boys. Absolutely, it's a whole family, and he treasures the ladies of Israel, and the men treasure the ladies of Israel as well. All right. So let's do 10.
Verse 10. And as we tarried there many days, there came down from Judea a certain prophet named Agabus, if I said that correctly.
So we got a prophet coming from Judea. So more than likely he's a Jew coming from Judea. All right. Read.
And when he was come unto us, he took Paul's girdle and bound his own hands and feet and said, Thus said the Holy Ghost, so shall the Jews at Jerusalem bind the man that owneth this girdle, and shall deliver him into the hands of the Gentiles.
So we getting a lot of different prophecies. At first it said from the Spirit. There was a message given to Paul. Now we got a prophet, pretty much the same situation, coming and giving Paul another prophecy about what's going to happen to him when he gets to Jerusalem, if he goes to Jerusalem. And it says he shall deliver him to the hands of the Gentiles. What Gentiles is he going to be delivered to? Like how do we know which Gentiles are which? Like which Gentiles is he going to be delivered to in this prophecy? What do we think?
I think from the previous chapter it was the Jews, right? Because it said they laid wait for him, right?
It says so shall the Jews. It says so shall the Jews at Jerusalem bind the man that owneth this girdle, and shall deliver him into the hands of the Gentiles.
Or the heathens.
The heathen Gentiles. The Gentiles and again, how do we know that? We know that based on context. We know it by context. So we have to know, it's very important to know the history. Again, we're in the New Testament right now. But just like we talk about all the time, you literally cannot understand the New Testament without understanding the Old Testament. At least having some knowledge about the history of Israel and history between Israel and the other nations as well. It's pretty critical. I think I interrupted someone. Somebody about to say something?
No.
All right, let me get everything back up on the screen. So in this situation, as Judanex said, I think it was Judanex said, I was thinking about popping up, that they're going to be delivered into the hands of the Gentiles in Jerusalem. So remember, in Jerusalem, we know that Yahushua, this is the book of Acts, so Yahushua has already sacrificed himself, so he's no longer walking the earth. But we know that even when he was, Jerusalem was already a conquered territory. It was already a conquered territory by the Romans. So the Romans are the Gentiles that are prevailing right now and honestly around the world at this time. Have a lot of conquered territories. So again, but we see another strong warning, even through the Spirit. Let's go to 12.
Verse 12. And when we heard these things, both we and they of that place besought him not to go up to Jerusalem.
They're begging him not to go, man. Please don't go. All right, 13.
Then Paul answered, What mean ye to weep and to break my heart? For I am ready not to be bound only, but also to die at Jerusalem for the name of the Lord Yahushua.
So it said that, Paul, again, he's getting all of these warnings through the Spirit. So, do we think that did Paul regard what he was told, what he's being told through the Spirit? Do we think he did that? We're going to see. And again, he was told through the Spirit what was going to happen. So if he's told through the Spirit, well, let's see. Let's read 13.
You just read that. I can read it again. Then Paul answered, "What mean ye to weep and to break my heart? For I'm ready not to be bound only, but also to die at Jerusalem for the name of the Lord Yahushua."
All right, I'm sorry. In 14, there we go.
God. And when he had Salakia, and when he would not be persuaded, we see saying, "The will of the Lord be done."
So when they could not convince him not to go, they just stopped and they said, "The will of the Lord be done. Let the Lord's will be done." Basically, so we have a situation where he's been warned over and over and over again by prophets through the Spirit, all these different things, and we see that he will not be persuaded not to go. So he's being told through the Spirit what's going to happen to him there. Since he didn't listen to the Spirit because he said he couldn't be persuaded otherwise, does that mean he sinned?
Wait, what?
So he was told by several prophets and several people, even the guy from Judea coming down and saying that, "Hey, this is going to happen to you, in Jerusalem." And it said through the Spirit. It said a prophet said it to him multiple occasions. He's being warned. And remember, even at the bottom of the chapter before, there were people telling him, "Hey, don't go there because such and such is going to happen." The Jews are laying in wait. So he got all of these warnings not to go, including from the Spirit. And we see that he rejected that because he said they couldn't persuade him not to go. So does that mean he sinned because he didn't listen to the Spirit?
No, I don't think he sinned because of that. Nah.
He had a warning, but it didn't necessarily tell him not to go.
Exactly. See, you did a bigger audience, man. you get a bigger audience, man. That's right. That's absolutely right. It was a warning. It wasn't a command not to go. It was the warning, So it wasn't a commandment. It wasn't because we know when earlier in Acts, he was the basically the Spirit. He wanted to go certain places, but the Spirit wouldn't allow him to go certain places. So in this situation, it wasn't a warning. It's just like saying, "Hey, this is what's going to happen to you, when you go there." So he was just being, foretold and given that warning. It was the people telling him, it was people telling him what was going on and all that good stuff. So can y'all think of another time that a warning was given that something was going to happen to somebody and they did it anyway?
Samson. Samson.
Adam and Eve.
Israel.
A million woolens.
Constantly. What was the first answer you gave, Judah Nick?
Adam and Eve.
Oh no, I thought you said something else. Never mind. Now I'm just messing with you. I thought I heard you say Yahushua. All of those names are right, but in this situation, we're talking about something that basically they were given a mission, but there were people there to basically persuade them away from the mission. Like Yahushua, Yahushua was given a mission, and who tried to stand in Yahushua's way?
Peter
did. Now Hasatan was in Peter because he got rebuked, but the point is that even Yahushua didn't want to do it, but because it was a mission and he knew the full scale of what had to be done, he kept on going anyway. So it was the same situation. What made Paul keep going?
Yeah.
The mission, absolutely the mission. I don't know what you said.
I said Spirit, but hey.
It was the whole mission. It was that calling. So he would not be persuaded away from that calling. So let's keep it going to 14.
Verse 14. And when he would not be persuaded, we ceased, saying, the will of the Lord be done.
Keep on going.
And after those days, we took up our carriages and went up to Jerusalem.
Read.
There went with us also certain of the disciples of Caesarea, and brought with them one, what's that? Nason of Cyprus, an old disciple with whom we should lodge. And when we were come to Jerusalem, the brethren received us gladly.
Okay, keep on going.
And the day following, Paul went in with us unto James, and all the elders were present.
So just real quick, disciples, because it's talking about one of the certain other disciples from Caesarea. What we also talked about before is that disciple simply means follower or student. So these are not the 12. One of the 12. These are just other disciples. Because Paul had disciples that were in all of these different lands as well. But he's going to the big dogs. He's going to the elders. So it says in 18, Paul went. And the day following, Paul went in with us unto James, and all the elders were present. So who's James?
Isn't that the brother? Was it John, his brother?
James was his brother. James was his brother, and James is now the de facto leader of the entire we'll just say the movement of Israel to awaken Israel. So he's the head elder. James is the head elder, and we had the other elders there as well. So that's where he's going. So basically, he has to check in because Jerusalem is like the headquarters. So we know we have different disciples that are kind of traveling around and trying to awaken, the different Israelites, the Gentile Israelites, and the Israelite, the Jews that are scattered as well, trying to let them know about Yahweh Shai and all these other things going on. So Paul is one of the key guys that's leading, in that movement. So he's coming back to home base. Jerusalem is home base. So that's where he's going back to. Let's do 19.
Verse 19. And when he had saluted them, he declared particularly what things Yahweh had wrought among the Gentiles by his ministry.
Yeah, kind of all of the things that Yah was working in his ministry unto the Gentile, the scattered Israelites. 20.
Verse 20. And when they heard it, they glorified the Lord and said unto him, Thou seest, brother, how many thousands of Jews there are which believe, and they are all zealous of the law.
So when it says how many thousands of Jews there are which believe, what does it mean when it says they believe? Believe what?
In Yahushua, I will say.
In Yahushua, absolutely. So that distinction has to be made, because that's the thing that most of them understand what the law is, even though they're following traditions of man. They already understand what the law is. So these that believe, they believe in the Messiah. They believe in Yahushua. And it says, and they are zealous of the law as well. So again, that distinction had to be made. So did all of Yahushua's people reject him?
No, not all.
Not all. So there are biblical there are biblical Jews, of course, that absolutely follow Yahushua. We see it all through when he was there, converting people, working miracles on people, and all this other type stuff. The entire nation of Israel did not reject Yahushua. Now there are definitely some bad and even some evil, downright evil, Jews that were non-believers, Israelites that were non-believers that were wicked. So that's definitely a thing. For sure. But again, it says that they believed and that they are zealous of the law. Again, we just want to understand all of these different things so we know what's going on during this time. So do James and the disciples think this is a bad thing that that they believe and that they are zealous and that they're also zealous of the law? Do they believe that that's a bad thing?
No.
Good thing.
Absolutely. Because they glorified, it says they glorified the Lord, when they heard these different things. So again, this lets us know that they are all on the same page in that regard. Again, we're just trying to get get everything set. So we have the folks that travel with Yahushua, the elders. We have Paul that came later on, because people try to break up and make it seem like, they're talking different things, and they're not talking different things. Sometimes the way that Paul is talked about, and sometimes even the way that he says things, makes it difficult for people to understand, makes it difficult for our people to understand, and even them. But again, this whole thing is trying to get everybody on the same page, and we see that clearly. We will see clearly that they are on the same page. Let's go to 21.
Verse 21. And they are informed of thee, that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, saying that they ought not to circumcise the children, neither to walk after the customs.
So this is why he brought up, and they are all zealous of the law, because right here, this is well, let's just say again, it says they are informed, because he's talking about all of these different Jews, thousands of Jews that are, which believe and are zealous of the law. And he says, and they are informed of thee, that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles, so these scattered Jews, to forsake Moses, which means forsake the law, saying that they ought not to circumcise their children, neither to walk after the customs of the law. So this is basically an accusation. This is an accusation. We saw it in many chapters before this, that these accusations are being hurled at Paul. But is this what Paul has been teaching? Has he been teaching not to circumcise the children and not to walk after the law? Nah. So these are false accusations. They're absolutely false accusations. But this is in Jerusalem. We got Jews in Jerusalem that are saying this. You know what I'm saying? So this is a big problem. So again, just to understand things, Paul has been traveling all over a bunch of different lands all of this time. He's been all over the place, but right now he's back in Jerusalem, back at headquarters. So let's think about how big Paul's ministry was. Because again, remember, this is years, a long time after Yahushua has already sacrificed himself. And not everybody knows Paul, but word about what he's doing, it must be large, because it's spread all the way back to Jerusalem. And we know that everywhere he goes, we got the Jews stepping up to him. And even in places where he's arriving, we got Jews already there that are laying in wait, trying to nab him, basically. So we have to understand that Paul, his ministry was really, really, really large. And again, all the way to the point that word of what he was doing, not just from him reporting back into the elders, but word of what he was doing got all the way back to Jerusalem. That's how much of a buzz he was creating all over the world, all over the world of Jewry. We'll say. So we got to remember that Paul is getting all of these false accusations. He has been in riots. People are starting riots. He's getting beat down, all kinds of different things through his travel. So a lot of people have been doing these things to Paul. So it ain't fun, but I'd say it's almost normal to him, because this is what he's been going through for such a long time. You got something, Judah, Nick?
I was gonna say there's a scripture that says they would persecute them. I'm just paraphrasing roughly. They would persecute the master, but they said how much greater is something, but they would also persecute the servant as well.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Something that Yahushua said, actually.
Yeah. So
basically, they did it to me, so they're going to do it to you too.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're not going to do it to you when they did it to me.
Yeah.
Basically, we pretty much see a repeat of that going on. So that's a great point. And that's something that we all need to remember as well, because we can all fall subject to this exact same thing. And many of our people around the world are, for sure, to varying degrees. Now, we see that the Jews as a whole, well, I won't say as a whole, but many different groups of Jews have a problem with Paul. What is their main problem with Paul?
How was I?
yeah. They believe that they don't believe, most of them don't believe in Yahweh Shai. They only believe in the law because that's what they've known the majority of the time. But also not just the law, but now they've kind of transitioned to traditions of man. So a lot of the traditions of men they are keeping, and they can't really distinguish the two, and they certainly don't want to hear anything about Yahweh Shai, because again, he was pretty much in a local area, but not around the world. So everybody that did not buy into him. And we also know that the Jews were they were basically the religious heads at that point, and they also believed that the scattered Israelites were divorced. So they looked at themselves as up here, and the scattered Israelites is down here, and almost not that they did not exist, but they looked down on them. They certainly didn't have respect unto the scattered Israelites of the other tribes, because they looked at them as divorced and filthy, as common and unclean. So we got Paul. They hearing Paul going out and teaching these guys and welcoming them back into the family. So they got a big problem with all of these things, because it's messing up their order and their understanding. So there are a lot of misperceptions going on. So headquarters knows about that. So that's where headquarters has brought up to Paul. And so we're going to see, they know that these misperceptions, because they just glorified what Yah was doing with the Gentiles through Paul's ministry. So they know that Paul is on point, but they also know that things have to be corrected amongst the people. So let's see what they decided to do about it. Let's do 21 and 22.
God.
Oh.
Yeah, scroll up a little bit.
Scroll up a little bit. You see it?
You said 21 and 22?
Mm-hmm.
Only two. Okay, now I can see it. All right, Acts 21. Oh, 21 verse 22. Gotcha. What is it therefore? The multitude must needs come together, for they will hear that thou art come.
So again, what he's referring to is those false accusations, all of this stuff that he said that the Jews are saying that he's teaching people to forsake Moses and all these other things. So he's like, what is it therefore? The multitude, the large group of Jews, they're going to come together when they hear that you're here. So now he's going to give them a command to help deal with this situation. Let's do 23.
Verse 23. Do therefore this that we say to thee. We have 4 men which have a vow on them.
Mm-hmm.
Is it vow or vow on them? Vow on them. Mm-hmm. Them take and purify thyself with them, and be at charges with them, that they may shave their heads, and all may know that those things whereof they were informed concerning thee, and are nothing, but that thou thyself walkest orderly and keepest the law.
So do y'all see the strategy that the disciples it's really the disciples being led by James is doing? So the Jews know about what a vow is, which is basically a very serious and lawful commitment or promise. Is a vow, to the Most High. So it's a very, very serious thing. So when they see, he's trying to show them that Paul is under a vow as well. So he's trying to get Paul to display that he's under a vow, so that they can receive him as also keeping the law, which is opposite of what the rumor is that he's teaching against. So they're trying to show that Paul is in alignment with all of them by showing Paul going under a vow as well. That's what they're trying to do. Does that make sense?
Kind.
All right. Let's see. 25.
Verse 25. As touching the Gentiles which believe, we have written and concluded that they observe no such thing, save only that they keep themselves from the things offered to idols, and from blood, and from strangled, and from fornication.
So we talked about this before, and again, that was just the judgment that the disciples gave to the Gentiles that were coming to the fold, because the house of Judah was looking down on them, trying to get them to be perfect at keeping the law immediately. But they said, no, just do these things for right now, and every week you're going to get better and better, because you're going to go to the synagogues, and the law is being taught in the synagogues every week. So you will get the understanding over the course of time. So this is what it means by when he says he told them that which the Gentiles, or which the scattered Israelites, those that believe, we've told them only to do these things, to keep themselves from idols, from blood, and from eating blood or eating things that have been strangled, and from fornication. That's what that was referring to. Something else that happened in Acts. All right, let's go to 26.
God. Then Paul took the men, and the next day, purifying himself with them, entered into the temple to signify the accomplishment of the days of purification, until that an offering should be offered for every one of them.
Read.
And when the 7 days were almost ended, the Jews which were of Asia, when they saw him in the temple, stirred up all the people and laid hands on him.
So here they go with the riots again, man. Like that, man. The Jews be tripping. The Jews be tripping, man. and laid hands on them. And we know what that means. They were busting them up a little bit. All right, go ahead.
Verse 28, crying out, men of Israel, help. This is the man that teaches all men everywhere against the people and the law and this place, and further brought Greeks also into the temple, and hath polluted this holy place.
So we have this is how they get the crowd stirred up. They're getting the crowd stirred up, and they're talking more false allegations. They're giving more allegations, and the people are going to get riled up over that. All right, 29.
For they had seen before with him in the city, pronounce that again.
Trophimus,
an Ephesian, whom they supposed that Paul had brought into the temple.
So we know that the Ephesians are scattered Israelites. These are not Gentiles, non-Israelite Gentiles. The Ephesians that were being brought, that were being preached to, were scattered Israelites. But the Jews, the house of Judah, looked at them as unclean. So they were the same thing as non-Israelite Gentiles. So that was an offense to bring them into the temple. All right, go ahead.
And all the city was moved, and the people ran together, and they took Paul and drew him out of the temple, and forthwith the doors were shut.
So again, all of these false accusations, and again, it just started more riots and all the stuff all over again that we've seen happen in other chapters, in other locations with Paul again. So the Jews are doing their thing, man. Let's do 31.
And as they went about to kill him, tidings came unto the chief captain of the band that all Jerusalem was in an uproar.
All right, so if it says good tidings, what does that mean? Good tidings.
Captain band.
News.
Good, right? Good news. So tidings is just news. So as they went about to kill him, news came unto the chief captain of the band. That's right, Judah Nick. News came, so the chief captain of the band got the word that all of Jerusalem was in an uproar. What is the band?
The army.
God.
Just like Cornelius was in the Italian band, I think.
That unit. Yep.
Absolutely. So we're just getting used to these different terms so we can kind of understand them, because again, I think a lot of things are misunderstood. So we're just getting to these terms so we can understand them. All right, let's go to 32.
Who immediately took the soldiers and centurions and ran down unto them. And when they saw the chief captain and the soldiers, they left beating of Paul
All right, so the Jews were tripping, and then the police came, and so they stopped beating on Paul. So the police came and broke up the riot, which is what they were intending to do. So let's see what happened next.
Then the chief captain came near and took him and commanded him to be bound with 2 chains, and demanded who he was and what he had done.
Let's read here.
And some cried one thing, some another among the multitude. And when he could not know the certainty, Salakia, for the tumult, he commanded him to be carried into the castle. And when he came up, when he came upon the stairs, so it was that he was born of the soldiers for the violence of the people.
So born just means he was picked up he was picked up basically by the soldiers for the violence of the people, because they beat him down. All right. 36.
For the multitude of the people followed after, crying, "Away with him."
So they were pretty relentless. They were pretty relentless in trying to get after Paul and put his light out permanently. They were trying to kill him. So what does this remind you of? What does that remind you of? They were riling up the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Who did they rile up the crowd famously to execute?
Yahushua.
Absolutely, Yahushua. 100%. And then there was another one that Paul was the one that incited the crowd. Who did he incite the crowd to execute? It was another guy. Starts with an S.
Repeat that question again, King Salakia.
There was another guy that was riled up. That actually Paul was the one that riled up the crowd to execute. They stoned him. Well, who was this?
And just after, I think who changed and said, "Is this the game who had changed by then?" I can't remember. Not Stephen, I know that.
That's actually who it was.
It's Stephen? Oh my God!
You don't get credit because you said you know that it's not him. Look,
bro, for real?
He gets some points deducted. Absolutely. Yeah, Paul was the one that incited the crowd to execute and stone Stephen. So this appears to be a typical tactic. This is judgment. So all of this is being judged. This is what the Israelites did. Now it should be done righteously. We look in older parts of further back in the Old Testament when it was done righteously. Now, unfortunately, we see, we know that Israel is just is whacked out. And so you can just basically start up a tizzy about something and accuse somebody of something, and the whole crowd will get riled up and go kill the person. We're seeing this happen over and over and over and over again. It also reminds me of beef on the internet. So our men and our women are constantly pitted against each other, and it's a constant public dispute between our men and our women. And you don't see this happening with any other people groups. It's our men and our women, and we know that this stuff is being done strategically, and we keep on falling for it, just like they were falling for it, in the Word. That's another showing that it's our people that's falling victim to this thing, we see it. So we're seeing this the same thing, all the time. It's the same thing even with the camps, like it's camps that they're beefing all the time. Now we're supposed to believe just about the same thing, but people are breaking their necks to call out other camps, like or other assemblies. How does that help? I mean, we've been attacked before, and some false accusations were thrown at us. Hezekiah, who we've had on as a guest just the other night, he was attacked. So how does this help the kingdom? But again, this honestly, it's another sign of who we are, because the curses are following us. The curses are following us along. Do we see any other religions out there that are consistently publicly beefing with each other that are supposed to believe in or supposed to have the same faith? I don't see any of that.
They'll fight other religions, kind of, but they won't fight between themselves.
No, they won't. And if typically if it is some infighting, they kind of keep it in house. You don't hear about it constantly. You can't, But I mean, I don't know, man. So we gotta.
Or the broadcasting. You don't see that with any other religion. No broadcasting at all.
God, so how can unity be achieved when this is our modus operandi? It's very difficult. So it's a problem. Like I said, it's another indication of who real Israel is. These are all of those curses that are said to follow us constantly, and we see that they still are, throughout time. So we need saving not only from our enemies but from ourselves. We absolutely need our Messiah to set things straight.
True.
Let's get back to the script here. 37. 37.
Verse 37.
Okay.
I could finish this. And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, "May I speak unto thee?" Who said, "Canst thou speak Greek?"
Now, so why is the captain shocked that Paul can speak Greek?
Probably because he was an Israelite, or how he looked.
Let's see. It's clear that it's because he's not of the same people group.
Yeah.
It's not the same people group, and we're gonna see him express it pretty clearly in 38. Let's read 38.
Art not thou that Egyptian?
And this is the chief captain speaking back to Paul now. So go ahead.
Art not thou that Egyptian which before these days made us an uproar and led us out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers?
Now come on, dog. Like 4,000 men and all of them were murderers. 4,000. Is this not like some kind of ridiculous Karen style statement?
Yeah, it really is, man.
Aren't you that Egyptian that you let out 4,000 men and all of them were murderers? You know what I'm saying? Doesn't that sound just like, all black people are criminals, and it's like some kind of mass accusations that are held against our people, and that's even happening today?
Yeah, so we see it today.
We even see it today, but we know that the Jews, and we also know the house of Judah, and we also know the scattered tribes. They know who each other are. Mm-hmm. Like they can identify each other. Like like he was talking about we saw Paul brought an Ephesian into the temple. They don't have any trouble understanding. They hate each other, so they got to know who to hate, so they can identify each other. But this guy says, "Aren't you that Egyptian? How do you even speak Greek? Aren't you that Egyptian?" He's confused. So that lets you know that he's not an Israelite, like Cornelius was an Israelite. This guy's not an Israelite. All right, but again, we see Karen's way back up in the biblical times. Man, that's crazy.
Nothing new under the sun, huh?
Right, nothing to do with this. Weren't you the Egyptian dude that led 4,000 male murderers out into the wilderness? What? It's pretty preposterous, man.
Yeah,
it is absolutely crazy, man. So like I said, the Israelites, they knew who each other were, even if they weren't of the same tribe. They knew who each other were. Let's go to. Let's do a share. Okay, let's go to 39.
Verse 39. But Paul said, "I am a man which am a Jew of Tarsus, a city in Cilicia." What is it? Cilicia, mm-hmm. A citizen of no mean city. And I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people.
So why is Paul bringing up that he's a Jew and he's from Cilicia, or a Jew of Tarsus, a city in Cilicia? Why is he bringing this up? He's being crafty. Oh, I think I might have interrupted somebody.
Is he just trying to say that he's not Egyptian, or?
Well, I agree with you there. I think he's definitely saying that, but he's also letting him know that he's a Roman.
Oh yeah, because you can't lock up Romans. I remember in this time period, right?
God, he's a citizen. So this is a very tactical statement that he's making right here. He's a very intelligent guy. So this is a very tactical statement that he's saying. So it's like, hey, can I speak to the people? Can I speak to the people? So let's read 40.
And when he had given him license, Paul stood on the stairs and beckoned with the hand unto the people. And when there was made a great silence, he spake unto them in the Hebrew tongue, saying.
So all right, let's go to the next chapter. So
You got it, Nick.
So first of all, it says you spoke to them in the Hebrew tongue. So we see tongue again is language. It simply means language. So he spoke to them in the Hebrew language, you know?
Yeah.
So again, we're seeing that Paul is being very, very, very crafty. Why do we think he spoke to them in the Hebrew language?
So the captain wouldn't understand what he's saying. But it's more to do with he wants to specify who he's speaking to make sure he's speaking to Israel and they understand.
Well, that's definitely a huge part of it. And again, he's being very tactical with the way that he's doing things. Like I said, he's being very, very skillful in terms of how he talks to the people, and what he says and how he says it. So he's again, so with the Roman soldier, he's like, look, I'm a Roman, all right, and he's stating his credentials in terms of where he's from. Now with the Hebrews, he's speaking their language, which is basically saying to them, I'm one of y'all. So he's trying to identify with them, you know. So again, he's trying to win the crowd, basically, is what's going on. Let me see. So we're gonna go to 22 and see what he was saying to the crowd here. Oops. Let's go ahead and do 22 and 1.
Men, brethren, and fathers, hear ye my defense, which I make now unto you.
Mm-hmm.
And when they heard that he spake in Hebrew tongue to them, they kept the more silence, and he saith. So
there it is. So they heard him speak in their language. So they're like, okay, let me pay attention. Because so remember this, right? You know, it was no internet back then. There's no internet. Paul has been traveling for years, and occasionally he will come back to Jerusalem to report in and stuff like that. But for the most part, he's been traveling for years. So most people don't know him. Most people have never seen him, but all they've heard is rumors about him and bad rumors about him. You know what I mean? So that's all that they have. So they don't know. Who knows what we've heard? Some of the things that were said about him. I'm sure there's a lot more foul things that are said to make you want to kill somebody. There's a ton of terrible things that are being said about you. You know. So when they hear him speaking in Hebrew, it catches their attention. So that already lets me know that they were thinking something different. You know, possibly that, you know, we got this Roman dude over here that's trying to change our laws and blah blah blah. You know what I mean, Judah Nick?
So it sounds like even before the crowd got to him, they were very ill-informed. Because one, you can't just lawfully beat your brother down anyway for no reason. So someone must have said something like, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, because remember, even when he was all the way over in those other lands, they were already saying, look, this is going to happen to you in Jerusalem. They were already warning them about what was going to happen. And they were warning them, you know, without the spirit. So it was people that were not prophets that were like, hey, we don't think you should. At the bottom of chapter 20, I think it is, they were already like, look, we've been hearing this. We don't think you should go over there. And he was like, You know, and then it started getting stronger because people started coming through the Spirit that were led by the Spirit, and even prophets that were where the Spirit was speaking through them and saying, this is what's going to happen to you. So he had foul rumors, and even before that, in prior chapters, we saw that we had Jews laying in wait for him. They were trying to kill him in those other lands, so they were after him for quite some time. So yeah, the rumors and everything else going on regarding Paul, they were alive and well. And like I said, who knows, how bad those things were, but they had to be pretty bad for them to be wanting to kill him immediately. It did not take much. It did not take much. But they were strongly offended by whatever, was being said that he was doing, But what he's trying to do with with speaking, Hebrew, and he's trying to like form a common bond. He's trying to form a common bond with them, because again, he's trying to win the crowd over. Because this is his defense. This is like almost like he's an attorney, his own attorney, and he's trying to talk to the jury. We'll just say, all right, let's go. Quick.
Acts 22 verse 3. I am verily a man which am a Jew, born in Tarsus, a city in Sicilia, yet brought up in this city at the feet of Gamaliel.
Yeah, you got that joint. Yeah, that's a hard one.
And taught according to the perfect manner of the law of the fathers, and was zealous toward Yahweh and ye who are this day.
Mm-hmm.
And I persecuted this way unto the death, binding and delivering into prisons both men and women.
So what does that mean that he persecuted this way? What does that mean?
Like his whole journey was basically him nearly dying.
Well, that is true. In this situation, he's talking to them, saying, "Look, I'm a Jew from Tarsus. I came up under the law, under a famous teacher called Gamaliel, and I used to persecute the same way that y'all are doing right now, even unto the death. I did the same thing that y'all are doing." So again, he's trying to identify with them and let them know that he understands where they're coming from, and that he's like they are. This is him still trying to win the crowd. All right, 22 and 5.
As also the high priest doth bear me witness, and all the estate of the elders, from whom also I received letters unto the brethren, and went to Damascus to bring them which were there bound unto Jerusalem, or to be punished.
So he's like, look, I got witnesses to everything that I'm saying. So again, he's been traveling around at this point for many, many, many years. So he's just bringing up, like I said, most people don't know him. So he's bringing up these other different, the high priest doth bear me witness. He's bringing up these different people in the estate of the elders, saying, y'all might not know my history, but these people that they know my history. So again, he's talking about witnesses. He's bringing up witnesses, and that's going to appeal to them because having witnesses is a huge part of the law and how people are judged and how people are defended as well. 22 and 6.
And it came to pass that as I made my journey and was come nigh unto Damascus about noon, suddenly there shone from heaven a bright light around about me.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell unto the ground and heard a voice saying unto me, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me?
Mm-hmm.
And they that were with me saw indeed the light, and were afraid, but they heard not the voice of him that spake to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what shall I do, Lord? And the Lord said unto me, arise and go into Damascus, and there it shall be told thee of all things which are appointed for thee to do.
So he's giving that whole testimony of his experience with Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. And again, the reasons his calling is to try to join the whole family back together, and also let the Gentile Israelites know that they are still part of the family, and also let them know about the law, and also let them know even more importantly about Yahweh Shah, and that he's the savior for all of Israel. And he's also wants to let the scattered Jews and the Jews in Jerusalem know about Yahweh Shah. And it's crazy because Yahushua was in Jerusalem, and this is also where the disciples are. But yet and still, there's still Jews there that do not believe in Yahushua. But many of them do. But there are tons of them that do not. So he still said. But he's saying to them, "Hey, this is what happened to me, and this was my experience with our Messiah. This is the reason why, I changed from what I was doing before." And this is how I got to where I am. But he's giving them his background, letting them know that this is where I came from, just like y'all. And because of this experience that I had, with Yahushua, this is how I got to where I am right now. And this is what I've been doing. And again, he's letting them know about, witnesses, because he let them know that there were, and they that were with me saw indeed the light. So I have some witnesses that can vouch for me in what I'm saying, because they saw the light. They didn't hear the voice, but they saw the light. So again, he's appealing to their legal nature, letting them know that there are witnesses to the things that he's saying. So again, this is truly an appeal. He's trying to defend himself. Let's do 22 and 10. 11. I'm sorry. Thanks.
And when I could not see the glory of that light, being led by the hand of them that were with me, I came into Damascus.
So that was him. He could not see because of the glory of the light. He got blinded, which we're familiar with that story.
And one of the Ananias,
Ananias,
a devout man according to the law, having a good report of all the Jews, got there.
Dropping names again. Paul is dropping names. He's very strategic with what he's doing. He's dropping names. All right, go ahead.
Came unto me and stood and said unto me, Brother Saul, receive thy sight. And the same hour I looked up upon him. And he said, the God of our fathers has chosen thee, that thou shouldest know his will, and see that just one shouldest hear the voice of his mouth. For thou shalt be his witness unto all men of what thou hast seen and heard.
God, so now, not just the law, but he's also now trying to appeal to their spiritual nature, to the spiritual aspect of it, saying that, Ananias, who a lot of people know, and also is a witness of what was going on, and who healed me, from my blindness, told me that, I'm called to do these different things. So someone else knows about what's going on with me. So again, he's trying to add validity to the things that he's doing, but he's fighting a lot of, nonsensical accusations, of course. But let's go to 16.
And now, why tarriest thou? Arise and be baptized, and wash away sins, calling on the name of the Lord.
So most of them are aware of John the Baptist and his huge ministry and the process of baptism. So again, he's letting them know not just his history, but he's trying to identify with them, and so again, they can kind of calm it down some, so you can appeal to them. All right, 17.
And it came to pass that when I was come again to Jerusalem, even while I prayed in the temple, I was in a trance.
I'll read.
And saw him saying unto me, make haste and get thee quickly to Jerusalem, for they will not receive thy testimony concerning me.
I'll read.
And I said, Lord, they know not that I am imprisoned, and be in every synagogue them that believed on thee.
I'll read. Oops.
And when the blood of Demetri, martyr Stephen was shed, I also was standing by and consenting unto his death, and kept the raiment of them to him.
So there's that. So he's talking about when he was cheering on Stephen to get murdered, right there. Same thing you were talking about, Judah Nick. So he's just bringing that back up again about what he used to do. All right, 21.
He said unto me, depart, for I will send thee far hence unto the unto the Genit. Oh my God, unto the Gentiles, yeah.
There you go. That's good, man.
And they gave him audience unto this word, and then lifted up their voices and said, "Away with such a fellow from the earth, for it is not fit that he should live."
So again, so he's going through his history and trying to let them know. He's trying to appeal to them. They quieted down, so he believes. Well, I can't say what he believes, but it seems as though he might be beginning to win them over a little bit. And he says how he was speak with the Gentiles about the word and about Yahushua. And again, it says they gave him audience unto this word, and then they lifted up their voices and they resumed what they were doing before. Away with such a fellow from the earth, for it is not fit that he should live. So they're back on that, trying to get him up out of there thing. Let's go to 23.
And as they cried out and cast off their clothes and threw dust into the air, the chief captain commanded him to be brought into the castle and bade that he should be examined by scourging, that he might know wherefore they cried so against him.
So what does it mean they bade him that he should be examined by scourging?
Torture him? Torture him?
Torture him. That's right. Smacking him on the back with the whip. They tortured him. So they're trying to questioning him. They torturing him and asking him questions at the same time. That's what was going on. That he might know where or why the Jews are crying against him. So they're trying to figure things out. So that's what they said. That's what they decided that they were going to do. They were going to torture him and question him so they can figure out what was going on. Because at this point they can't figure out they don't really have it clearly with what's going on and who is at fault or what have you. 25. Got 22, 25. Can you see it?
Yeah, it's like and as they bound him with thongs, like little plier kind of things.
I'm not even sure, to be honest with you.
Okay. Paul said unto the centurion that stood by, so that's a Roman, "Is it lawful for you to scourge a man that is a Roman and condemned?"
So there he is bringing up the Roman citizenship again to the centurion. So this is a soldier, not the chief anymore. This is a soldier that was in charge of, like you said, bounding him and getting ready to torture him. So again, he's pulling out his Roman citizenship to try to stop all of that from happening. All right, 22 and 26.
When the centurion heard that, he went and told the chief captain, saying, "Take heed what thou does, for this man is a Roman."
So he's like, "Hey, dog, be careful, because this is a Roman, and like you said, it's part of their law that they're not supposed to treat Roman citizens a certain way." So 27.
Then the chief captain came and said unto him, "Tell me, art thou a Roman?" He said, "Yeah." And the chief captain answered, "With a great sum obtained I this freedom." And Paul said, "But I was freeborn."
All right, so let's see what this means. So it says, so the chief captain answered and said, "With a great sum obtained I this freedom." What do we think that might mean?
But he's saying he bought like how do I say this, a license to be a Roman, or like a passport?
Yes. So basically, remember that Greece was a world power and Rome conquered Greece. And so Rome is a world power that has a lot of different territories, and it's just like with Israel, they conquered a lot of territories and took a lot of prisoners, took a lot of people captive. So when he says with a great price, with a great sum, he obtained this freedom of what you call, it either means through deeds or through literally almost like buying himself out of slavery, we can say. So it was either because of the deeds and all the work that he had to do in order to earn his Roman citizenship to be accepted as a Roman citizen, but he's not even a natural Roman citizen. He's a Gentile of some other nation that has now adopted Rome and is now working in the army, just like Cornelius, except for Cornelius was an Israelite, and this chief captain, is from another nation. You understand? So Paul is like, well, I was a natural born Roman. I was born free. I wasn't born, a captive. So again, he's designating who he is. All right, 29.
Then straight away they departed from him which should have examined him, and the chief captain also was afraid, after he knew that he was a Roman, and because he had bound him.
So he's terrified now because remember, he's not a natural Roman citizen. Now he's breaking Roman law by doing this to Roman citizens. So he's shook. He's like, man, let me let him go. No, we're not torturing him. Let me let him go straight away. All right, 22 and 30.
On the morrow, because he would have known the certainty wherefore he was accused of the Jews, he loosed him from his bands and commanded the chief priest and all their council to appear, and brought Paul down and set him before them.
So that's the conclusion of chapter 22. So basically, what's being set up is some type of trial with the elders and the chief priests. So basically the police, the military, they still have Paul captive, but they're not going to flog him this time. But they are bringing the chief priests in the council together to see what's going on with all of these accusations. So this is setting up for the trial of Paul. So we'll go through that next time and see what they're accusing him of and how everything is going to go down. All right. We have any questions or anything like that? Yeah, I take that to mean no. What'd you say?
I want to read the next chapter, but it's
no, that's
it's kind of like a suspenseful. Like, yeah, man, like I want to know next. I've read it already, like the whole thing, but I don't remember it, so I want to read it now. But I want to wait till next Thursday.
Absolutely, man. Well, it's definitely good, and that's a good thing, and that's why we want to go through things and kind of do it step by step, because by us looking at pretty much everything that's happening the entire time, we can try to paint a picture and help us all get greater understanding of it, and we can get more understanding of what was going on during the book of Acts, and get a lot of these. Honestly, most of us have been told a lot of lies, or we could have read it once or twice and still not gotten the full breadth of what's going on. So every time we read it, we get more understanding. If we go over it, next year, we'll get more understanding than we have right now. That's the way that the Most High works in terms of giving us understanding. So little by little, man. So it's all good. But hey, if anybody wants to, of course, continue to read it, absolutely go for it. And that way, you'll be able to help all of us out next time when we go through this, because this is what we're going to go through next time. But until then, I guess we'll go ahead and pray out. Father, again, thank you so much for giving us more time with you and your word, and giving us wisdom so we can understand what was going on in these times. And these things are going to just help us as we go on our walk. We see the things that have happened to your people in the past, and there's nothing new under the sun. It's still happening to your people, and it's going to happen in the future. And your word already says that. So this just gives us a better understanding and better visuals on what it looked like. And unfortunately, we can actually identify that some of these things are still going on today. It's just that many of us don't know who we are, and they don't know who you are. So Father, please continue to use us and use other of your people to declare your word, and to declare who you are to your people, and to wake your people up, and all of those that are going to follow you. So we just again thank you. We ask you to we repent for our sins, and we ask you to forgive our sins. We also ask you to strengthen our faith and to heal the people that are sickly or need spiritual help, mental help, psychological, financial. In every way, Father, we know that you are for the nation, the biblical nation of Israel. And we thank you for making us a part of that bloodline. In Yahushua's name we do pray. Hallelujah. All right, man. So I guess until next time, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Don't forget to share too, man.
Click the bell button. Is that what it is, man? I don't know what it is. But anyway, man, we appreciate you guys' support, and let's keep on trying to grow toward our Father.
Joel 3:16. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel.